I'm pleased to announce the untimely demise of this pack rat. He's big. Look how big he is. I put some poison out after I saw him in. After I saw him in them skid steer again. I saw him in there last week when we drove it down here from the farm. He ran out. I thought he was stayed out, but apparently he came back in over the night, and we drove out the next day and had some electrical problems, and I didn't realize he was still here. So I took the machine apart, repaired the problems that were in there, and it took me a couple days because I had to wait for parts. So while I had some of the electronics open, the gauge cluster, while the gauge cluster was opened, I didn't realize it, but he got in. I didn't realize he was here. He got in there and he chewed some of that stuff up. So I put together all the wires that he chewed that were down in this area and got it started up, and it even less work than before. And so that's when I noticed that in the back of the gauge cluster he had chewed up a bunch of stuff. So that's a new unit here, and I kept the old unit, so I was able to salvage some of the wiring from that and replace it there. Got it all back together and thought, no, it's a done deal, right? Fired it up and nothing changed. And I was like, oh my gosh, what's happening? So I checked, and I was getting power to everything on there. All the lights had power, all the gauges had power, meters and everything, but they didn't have any grounds. And so down underneath in this corner, all the way on the bottom of the bundle, at a 4-way junction, I think he had to lay on his back and use a creeper to crawl up under that thing and chewed through 9 more wires. And so when I finally found those and got them spliced or soldered back together, then everything came back alive and is working properly. My goodness, that rat.